Welcome to this lesson. I'm Klaus Levine from GuitarMastery.net, and this is an exclusive lesson on Music Radar. So you can go download the tabs if you're not already on this website, just below this video, or click the link below if you're on YouTube and go to the page so you can download the tabs. We're going to take your favorite of first position 2-note per string minor pentatonic shape, in this case in the key of E, and which is the best phrasing tool of all time, right? Right? And we're going to attach to it or integrate within it some really cool shapes that will allow you to play super fast lines very easily. And those are called 3-note per string blues scale shapes. It's also called, another type is 3-1-3 pentatonic shape. Right? 3-note per string, because in the beginning I learned these, fancy shapes like 3-note per string, blues scale, but they're all over the place and you have to stretch and move and it's uncomfortable. The 3-1-3 pentatonics stay in one position, which is really cool, but still, you got a whole tone and a minor third on the first. It's kind of a stretchy, uncomfortable thing, and it seemed impossible to really play anything meaningful within them. I could play, right? But how do you use that in a solo? But then it dawned on me that if I can attach them to my 2-note per string shape, like just little 6-note shapes, or just tiny little, right? I could go 2-note per string and then 2-note per string again, and then out into these. And it felt easy suddenly to use these shapes, and this will expand your playing. So if you're willing to look into this, please don't shy away from it just because we're playing a little bit of, it's not like playing the 2-note per string, of course, but you just have to get slightly out of your comfort zone. And you can do that pretty rapidly, I promise you. And then I got a couple of sequences for you that you can practice over and over again in a loop. Right? In your sofa, in front of the screen, watching YouTube videos with the metronome, whatever, to get that into you. And a cool exercise that you can do to really integrate them into your playing. So let's just look at the shapes, let's look at the sequences, and then let's look at an exercise that you can do to implement it and really get good at this. So first, let's have a look at the 3-note per string blues scale shapes. This is my first position minor pentatonic. Right, I got all the notes on the first finger in the 12th fret. Then I have the 15th fret with my 4th finger here on both the B and E string. Then I got the 14th on the G, the 14th on the D, and the 14th on the A, and then the 15th on the low E string. And I can add the blue note in the 15th fret on the G string and in the 13th fret on the A string. Right? So that's the shape that we use. I think this must be the most used scale shape when it comes to guitar. And then we take a shape like a 3-note per string blues scale shape, like this one, right, where you play the 12th, the 14th, and the 15th on the G string, and then you go for the 12th, 15th, and the 17th on the B string. And if this is uncomfortable to you, and you're not sure if you can hit the frets because it's out there, then just, pace yourself, because this is actually not that harder than just playing 1 fret per finger down here. Once you have it, it's just new, and that's what tricks us up. We think it's hard, but it's just new like anything else, right? So just pretend it's not hard, and then just do it, right? Just practice going from this to this, this. And you can totally learn it like it's an automated thing where you don't have to think about, let's hit the frets out there. And since you're up here, you don't have to stretch that much, so it shouldn't be that much of a problem for you reaching the notes. But that's the shape. Instead of going, I can take it all the way up, 3-note per string, right? Like that, but that's not practical for me because I want to stay in my phrasing shape. Right? And then go out into it. Right? And you can also do it up here. If we were to do it on the 2 top strings, you would have a shape that says 11, 12, and 15 on the B string. Right? And then a 12, 15, and 17 on the high E string. Right? So no matter where you are in the first position blues scales here, You can do it, but let's just focus on the 3 top strings here. This shape and then this shape, right? And then integrating those into your playing. Once you have that, you can just do it everywhere, in every position, in every scale shape. So let's look at the sequence for this one that I'd like you to practice. And really one of my favorite little turnarounds here, or loops. You start picking the 12th, the 15th, and the 17th fret on the high E string with pick strokes, down, up, down. Once you get to this place, you pull off down to the 15th and pull off down to the 12th. Then I hit the 15th fret, B string with an upstroke, and then I go right back to the first note again. That's the first loop. So slowly. Pull off, up, down, pull off. Just these 4 notes, just, right? Makes the alternate picking much easier because you have that break in between with the pull-offs, but you have to practice this with a metronome so you get the timing right, and the pull-offs are equally distanced when it comes to timing. Alright? Don't practice like... It will mess up your whole timing. It's awful. You just stay with whatever tempo you can practice it in. And then the little variation is to go all the way down to the 6 notes here, the 11, 12, and 15 on the B string. So you simply just play 15, 12, 11, 12, 15, and then right back to your... And then sometimes you can go down and say... Once you hit that note, instead of going right back to the 12th fret high E string, you go down here. And you start with an upstroke, down, up, and then back again. You might play this twice, and then third time you go down, and then twice. Right? Just play that little loop, and then practice ending it, so let's just get some... Right, just pick a note that's really cool that you're usually bending or ending on in the blues scale. Right? And then find out ways of getting out of that loop. Up to the blue note up here. Sounds wacky. Right? But the whole point is to get back into the 2 note per string shape. For instance, right, you find ways, you integrate it, you practice it, and then you integrate it into the... See if you can go from a 2 note shape, and then once you get up there, you go into it. And then back again, right? You design these little ways and practice them over and over again. The second shape and sequence I would like to show you is also on the top. It's just a pentatonic scale, but instead of laying it out like in 2 note per string, I have 3 notes on the first string. We got the 12, 14, and 16 on the G. Then we have the 15th on the B, and then 12, 15, and 17 on the high E. Right, and the sequence I want to show you is clean picking, sweep picking, and alternate picking. And it's simply a matter of going, you started off by just playing the first 3 notes on the G string, 12, 14, and 16. Down, up, down. And then you go down in the 15th and down in the 12th. But instead of going up that string, you start on the top note now. As soon as you hit that string in the 12th fret, you go to the 7th fret, 17th fret, and play down. So you go up, down, up, and then 15B, up, and then 16G, up. Right? And then you start over from the first note here and go up. And then down, up, down, down, down. And then from the top. And then from the bottom. As soon as you hit the final string, either the top string or the bottom string, you turn around and go down to the bottom or the top note. right? It's a really cool way of, you can take it all the way down to the A string and get some crazy sweeps there. And they're not that hard if you just focus on getting in thousands of repetitions with the metronome and then afterwards without the metronome, so you can play in front of YouTube or whatever. But for instance, then you go, just try that. Now you go up, top note, 15, 12 on the E, and from there you have all kinds of opportunities to go, oh, 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 right? So you go, right, oh. And then back in the tune upper string. Try that. And then tune upper string down. B string, 15, 12, 15, 14, 12, blue scale, and then end in the 14. So how do you make sure that this video wasn't a waste of your precious time? You make sure that you put it into action. Now you've been watching it. Now let's, create some results. And the way to do that is make sure you put it into action over time. So you create a little project for yourself where you say, I'm going to take just one shape, just that 3-note per string blues or that 3-1-3 on the top 3 strings of my very used, often first position blues scale or minor pentatonic shape. That's my project, to make sure I can do that thing. And the way to do that is to practice the sequence over and over again using a metronome and without the metronome, watching YouTube videos and so on. As soon as it's automatic on a low level of speed, you can just, start talking to friends or watching YouTube videos or television, if you still use that. And then just repeat it over and over again incessantly. And that's the one area of the work. And then the other is to put on jam tracks every single day, or use your looper pedal and make sure you try to create little lines, right? Create little lines as you hear the music in the background and actually start using this. Even though you're not up to speed at the level you want to, just start using this so it becomes a natural part of your playing. But do it over time. Create a project. What does that mean? That means don't just start practicing. Decide, how much am I going to practice this? When am I going to practice it? It's the first thing I do when I pick up my guitar. It's the first thing I do when I get out of bed in the morning. It's start creating little rules for yourself and make sure you can't forget by putting up post-it notes and creating a desktop background on your iPhone, whatever, and your computer, so that I'm going to do this, I'm going to focus on this for at least a week, preferably 4 weeks, so it becomes a part of your playing, an integrated part of your playing. Hope to see you in the next lesson here on musicradar.com. We're going to talk a lot more about this, so stay tuned.